Ever hear the expression, if only I knew then what I know now? Or how about, if only someone told me about this, I could have avoided that? Yeah, we're going to talk about this today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money and More with Jan channel. This video is not going to be too lengthy, but I do want to get into it. You know, we were told many, many times a lot of great frugal tips. I learned a lot over time. I give a lot during this time, and that's just one of those things I like to do. But we have to remember two words when we're listening and even when we are describing anyone. I would learn to stay away from two words, always and never. What do you mean by that, Jan? You use the word always, you use the word never. I do, but we have to talk about this, okay? For example, like I believe this. If only someone told me not to do this certain frugal tip, for example, let's say this particular tip, okay? Words and answers that contain the words or tips that contain the words always in the answer. Example, always buy in bulk. Mm, uh, 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 uh. Now, I have suggested bulk buying too. I have. But of course, within reason, within your particular situation, within your particular finances, within particularly what your family uses, you see? Now, sometimes a person may hear the word always, okay, and think, wow, I'm doing something wrong. And I didn't always buy XYZ in bulk. See where I'm going with that? Okay. There's another always that goes around, and I question the validity of it. For example, always avoid buying pre made or convenience foods. Don't get me wrong, those foods can cost a little more money. And if you are on an extremely tight budget, and I mean extremely, but I could tell you that it could also work for you if you are on an extremely tight budget. In other words, there are always exceptions to the rule, okay? Exceptions to the rule of always, okay? Always avoid buying pre made or convenience foods. It's really not true. Sometimes convenience foods come in really, really handy. And let me tell you something, for example, to buy a convenient, let's say, I'm just going to use this as the example. Let's say that your family likes frozen pizza, okay? That's still quite a lot less expensive than the $40 one that you're going to get in the actual pizzeria. You see where I'm going with this? So convenience foods has its place because in real life, people get extremely busy. They're running around all over the place. It's like you come home from one job, right? The day job, and then you're going on to part two, the night job, if you will. Even if the night job is at home, doing the family stuff and, just cleaning your own house or, being the soccer mom or dad or parents, or you see where I'm going with this. So there are always exceptions to the rule. Okay. And I just want to emphasize that because in case for those persons that think, oh, it's all or never kind of thing. And actually, there are other words like to use to actually to avoid to use these words like always. Always, it's always good to grow and have your own home garden because it's always going to pay off in the end of the day. Not really. I've actually heard more often than not. I'm not saying it's not a nice thing to have as a hobby for those that do. And I'm not saying there aren't people out there that haven't saved because they do. I'm sure there are plenty that have. But again, I want to emphasize we can't put a generalized blanket on everything. There are some exceptions to the rule. It's not an always, and it's not always a never, okay? This is important. This is very, very important. Example, another example. You will always save money if you shop for clothing at the thrift store. Not true. Not true. Since everybody got on the thrift store bandwagon in the last 10 years, I have seen that to be actually not true anymore. Sometimes you're paying more for things that you could get literally brand new at, regular retail store. You see where I'm going with this. And the trick to that is when you are at the regular brand new retail store or wherever you're getting your stuff, you look around. You shop for the best sales on those brand new items. But that's not to say to rule out the thrift stores. You see where I'm going with this? The bottom line is this: we can't have an all or nothing mentality when it comes to anything, especially when we think we're going to save money. How many folks out there, I'm just curious, have ever experienced has ever experienced, well, I'm going to go bulk shopping for XYZ food, right? And then it seems great, looks cute on the shelves, oh, feels good, all that stuff is there. And then, it wasn't rotated, it wasn't used, your family didn't really like it enough or whatever. And at the end of the day, you really didn't get the maximum value out of all that you put out. Instead of that, what you could have done is, try it on a smaller basis, get other things. See, that's the problem. We tie up we tie up a lot of money into the one thing that we're unsure of. So these are ways. I'm telling you, there are ways and there are ways. What's another example? Okay. Um, Now that we're in this, egg situation, which I do place my hope and trust will get better. Okay, so that's number one. I definitely want to say that. I'm not saying it's easy at the moment when I'm recording this in March of 2025. I'm not saying that because that would be not true. Okay, right now it is difficult, and if you're on a low income and all that, I don't have to say anymore. But does it always make sense to consider raising chickens to save money on eggs? Think about that. That may be applicable or applicable, however way you prefer to say it. I was raised to say it was applicable. Then all of a sudden, in the last 10 years, I keep hearing people saying applicable. Okay, I learned applicable. Who knows? Everything changes. All right. So I say both. There you go. But just because you're raising chickens doesn't mean you're saving money on expenses. It costs money. It costs money with that daily upkeep. It costs time, effort, and energy. And some people can do it. Some people are doing very well in that situation. But is it for everyone? You see that's the question. Is it for everyone? And the answer is no. And that's the whole purpose of today's video, that there are exceptions to the rule. So if only someone told me not to do this or that frugal thing, thinking I'm saving money, sometimes you get like, I don't know, what could I say? Advice that could cause confusion, suggestions. I give tips, take them for what they're worth. It's my opinion. It's just my opinion. Everything I say is my thought or my opinion. There you go. You go with your best instinct for your family. I say that all the time. What may work for myself may have zero working value for yourself or your family. I'm just giving you what I believe is to be best. What are your thoughts on the matter? Have you wasted money or overspent money on things thinking that you're doing it in a frugal manner? And as it turned out to be actually a money waster. Let us know in the comment section below. Have an amazing day, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.